Welcome back to Narcissism Freedom, or if you're joining for the first time, welcome to a space where truth, healing, and divine clarity guide us out of confusion and into purpose. Today's message may resonate deeply with your soul, especially if you've ever asked yourself, why did I meet the narcissist? What was the purpose? It's time we look beyond the pain and see the divine plan hiding in plain sight. On the surface, your encounter with a narcissist may seem like the most painful chapter of your life. It likely left you questioning your worth, your voice, and even your sense of reality. You may have tried to love them into healing, hoping they'd one day see your heart. You probably gave more chances than you gave yourself grace. And when it all collapsed, you were left in pieces. But what if I told you that the narcissist was not just a detour or mistake, but a divine catalyst? What if their role in your story was never about love, but about awakening? Sometimes the lesson doesn't look like wisdom at first. It looks like heartbreak. It looks like betrayal. It looks like being discarded, gaslit, and forgotten. But the soul knows something the mind often forgets. Every storm has a reason, even when we don't see it coming. Scripture reminds us in Genesis 50 verse 20, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." When Joseph was betrayed by his own brothers and thrown into a pit, it wasn't the end, it was the beginning of something sacred. In the same way, the narcissist came into your life not to build a forever, but to awaken something eternal within you. See, you didn't just survive the narcissist, you remembered who you are because of them. They were the mirror that showed you every place you had abandoned yourself. Every moment you stayed silent instead of speaking truth. Every time you doubted your intuition for the sake of keeping peace. You met the narcissist not because you were weak, but because you were chosen to finally break the cycle. You were chosen to see the lies, so you could reclaim the truth. For many of us, the narcissist appeared at a vulnerable crossroads. Maybe after a loss, a trauma, or during a time of transition. They mirrored the very wounds we hadn't yet healed. They drew us in with charm, with promises, with intensity, but behind it all was the deeper invitation to return to yourself. That was the true lesson. Not how to win their love, not how to decode their mind games, but how to see the red flags and no longer ignore them. How to choose peace over chaos. How to walk away from dysfunction without guilt. How to love yourself so fiercely that manipulation no longer finds a home in your heart. God allowed the narcissist because he knew it would break you open, but not to destroy you, to awaken you. And when you awakened, you began to see through spiritual eyes. You began to notice patterns, generational cycles, and the way you were conditioned to people please, overfunction, and shrink your own needs for the sake of others. That's not weakness. That's awareness. That's deliverance. That's freedom. The narcissist was a test, but it was also a revelation. They showed you what false love looks like, so you could recognize true love when it comes. They triggered your deepest insecurities, so you could rise up and heal the wounded child within you. They isolated you from others so you could finally meet yourself and meet God in your wilderness. It wasn't just about romantic failure. It was about spiritual transformation. You were never meant to stay in that trauma bond. You were meant to break it for yourself and for the generations that follow you. Isaiah 43 verse 19 reminds us, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it?" Sometimes God uses even the most painful encounters to make room for the new thing. And it starts within you. Maybe the narcissist was never going to change, but you were. And that change, it shifted the atmosphere. You started asking deeper questions. You stopped over-explaining your worth. You began protecting your peace like your life depended on it, because it did. You began to realize that what you thought was love was actually control. That what felt like intensity was actually trauma reenactment. That what appeared as chemistry was actually your unhealed wounds trying to find resolution. And here's the most powerful part. Once you see the lesson, you don't repeat it. You don't go back to the familiar pain. You no longer accept breadcrumbs in the name of love. You no longer negotiate with people who thrive on your silence. You rise. And as you rise, something sacred happens. You step into your calling. You step into your divine authority. You become the version of yourself that the narcissist tried to bury but couldn't. You become the curse breaker, the light bearer, the one who refuses to pass down silence, fear, or shame. So if you've been asking why you met the narcissist, remember this. It wasn't to suffer. It was to awaken. It wasn't to lose yourself. It was to finally find yourself. Your healing is not just about getting over what happened. It's about honoring who you became through it. The narcissist thought they were breaking you, but heaven was using it to build you. Your boundaries now reflect the self-love you once lacked. Your voice carries the power you once suppressed. Your discernment now filters out what once deceived you. You no longer crave the chaos. You no longer chase validation. You no longer shrink to be accepted. You've seen too much. You've grown too much. You've healed too much to ever go back. That is the unexpected lesson. That is the divine reason. If this message resonates with your journey, share it with someone who needs a reminder that their pain had purpose. Drop a comment with the number 999 if you're stepping into divine closure and preparing for new beginnings. And if you feel led to support the growth and awareness of this channel, you can find all the details below. Your presence here matters. Your healing matters. And your light is needed. Thank you for watching. Stay grounded, stay aware, and remember, what was meant to break you is used to build you. You met the narcissist for a divine reason, but the true lesson was always about you.